Hello everyone, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you a new segment in my channel called the Inspire Talks. In this segment, I am going to meet and interview people who have been successful in their own fields. People from different walks of life, professionals, civil servants, and everybody who have really worked hard, who have been dedicated, who have been persistent in achieving their dream, in achieving their goal, and have made the mark for themselves. In the first episode of Inspire Talks, we are going to interview a director from a Big Four consulting firm. Now, for those of you who are not aware of the Big Four consulting firms, EY, PwC, Deloitte, and KPMG, in this video, we are going to discuss a lot of different aspects ranging from the career to the challenges a Big Four possesses, the students, how they can get into a Big Four, and what are the key things that need to be kept in mind for a student if they want a successful career in a Big Four organization. So guys, please watch this entire video. It is 20 minutes long, but it is definitely going to add a lot of value to you. So let's get rolling. Hello everyone, welcome to the first session of our new series Inspire Talks. With me today is the director of a Big Four consulting firm. Now, for those of you who are not aware of the terminology or of how Big Four functions, basically director is one level below to the partner, partner being the topmost in the organizational hierarchy. And to become a director, it takes a lot of experience, lot of patience, a long number of years you need to put in your hard work to get there. And that is why I thank Amit for being here, spending his valuable time to join my channel and discuss a few points with all of you. Thank you, Amit, for joining us.
Thank you, Aryan, for me having on your show. And hi, everyone. Hope you're all doing well and safe.
So, Amit, I know that you are a chartered accountant by qualification and are working with a Big Four organization. Can you take us through your career and how it has progressed over these years?
So, as a career, as all of you are inspiring chartered accountants, I myself, I'm a chartered accountant, have over 14 plus years of experience. I did my articleship with a Big Four in the statutory audit side and then moved into risk and process consulting for over 12 plus years now. As part of my career, I had opportunities to work globally across almost 10 plus countries where I had opportunities to support and work with them. I had opportunities back with working with multinational organizations within the country as well as abroad. So it spans over in terms of overall experience, which it goes working with the Big Four.
That is great. As you also mentioned to me that you have worked in 3 out of the 4 Big Fours already. What has kept you motivated for so long to be loyal to the Big Four organizations?
It's an interesting and searching question for me. If I jovially look at it, I think I didn't try other options. But what made me do that? And that's the most important point. Those were for two key elements, and those were one was self development, and two was continuous learning. And this is something which helped me get glued to a Big Four. I don't say this because you don't get this at other places, but maybe a Big Four helped my thought process early in my professional career, and that made me be with them for long.
That is interesting, Amit. But did you ever feel the urge or the need, or did a thought cross your mind that enough now with the Big Fours, let's move on to an industry?
To be very frank, yes, these thoughts do fly by. But having said that, it was just by as a passing train which doesn't stop at a station. What excited me? What was a thought for me to not get into the industry? And if I see that the kind of opportunities I got working back with the Big Four helped me work across multiple sectors, multiple companies, and also I got a holistic view and experience of knowing different people, different businesses, different processes. And that is something which in a consulting frame always motivated me to be with them and not look out at an industry.
That's great, Amit, because I'm just wondering, especially for the young professionals who look to change their field of work very often, this is really inspiring. The fact that you are committed to one kind of a job for a long time, and that is when you actually gain the knowledge, the perspective, and the confidence to be where you are and to take yourself to higher levels. So that is indeed great. You also did your articleship from Big Four firm, Amit. Can you please tell us, whether to the students who are trying to get into articleship, would you suggest getting into a Big Four, or do you think a mid-sized firm is better? Which of the two? There's a debate that happens always. Students trying to figure out whether a Big Four is better or a mid-sized firm is better. What is your take on it?
So if I go back to early 2000s when I did my articleship back in 2004, I think at that point of time, what was important, everybody looked up to a Big Four because they talked about global methodologies, they talked about global experiences, and that is something within the Indian firms at that point of time was wanted. But having said that, with the digital age and era today, the world has changed. And today you get so many platforms to interact with people. You get so many platforms to learn in terms of thought leaderships, publications, articles, and all of these social networking websites which help answer a lot of your queries and questions. So I feel being in a Big Four or a non-Big Four doesn't matter that much. What is key is whichever company you're working for or whichever firm you're working for, the learning element has to be really thought through, where you are learning and where you have a self-interest to be part of some of these websites and go through a lot of these publications. You have a career for yourself.
That is indeed a great point. I think most of us miss this point, that it's not really the organization that you're working for that matters, but it is indeed your own interest in doing the work. So whether it is a small firm or whether it is a big firm, yes, there will be a few advantages, disadvantages, pros, cons of each organization, each setup. But then with so much information available online and so many learning opportunities, it is totally up to an individual on how they shape their articleship period. So that is indeed good. But one thing that is a little unfamous about Big Four is the challenges that we face while working, and you have experienced that now for 13, 14 years in your life. Is it true? Is it really very challenging? And if yes, how stiff is the competition?
Uh, when we say challenges, what we exactly mean? The reason I say that is because challenges are different for different people based on different circumstances each of us go through. In my point of view, if a people feel working in a particular organization in a time bound way is a challenge, yes, so may it be. If people work in an organization for money only, again, that could be a challenge. But I think if there is a passion behind what we are doing in terms of our self improvement, our learning process, and that passion when it goes into work, it no longer becomes just a routine process. It needs to become a passion so that your challenges around it goes away. Other thought as well, the passion for work is limited. If you're engrossed in any activity and enjoy with it, then you don't find it challenging. And that's what is very important, that your passion for work has to be unlimited in terms of whatever you're doing. You should always do it with an urge to learn something new, and then it doesn't be a challenge for you at all.
But then the challenge and the long working hours that are always going to be there in a Big Four, does work-life balance get impacted, and how do you manage that aspect of your life?
And that's true. I think in anybody's life, you have 24 hours a day, and you need to prioritize your 24 hours. When it comes to me, if I look at my work life balance, I have my parents, my kids, my wife, my work, my clients to handle, and so many elements, and the me time. The most important is my me time. So each of these elements are very crucial in everybody's life. You have 24 hours. If you try to balance one, the other tilts. Now, to do that, what I feel is very important is prioritizing. First of all, we need to have a list of what are our priorities and then set the priorities based on its importance. So once you start doing that, you start at least achieving a higher success rate, which otherwise, if you just go as it comes, your success rate might be there, but much lower than a person who is planned and prioritized the important aspects of his life.
So I think the keyword over there is prioritizing. It is extremely important that at what moment of time, what is your priority, and you need to do just that. So another important learning for all the students out there: if you are thinking that you do not have enough time to do your studies, it is all about prioritizing. Know what you need to do first, and then stay committed to it. But one more question that I receive a lot of times, Amit, is that a lot of students, who are doing their articleship and are also appearing for final exams, they find it very difficult to do justice to the work and also study for such a difficult examination. You were working in a big four organization and you gave your examinations and you cleared, became a chartered accountant. How did you do that, and what is your advice to the students who are facing this challenge?
Sure. In my scenario, what happened back in 2006, I had my attempt in May '07, where Institute in June '06 came back with a circular saying that you can give a preponed attempt. And having said that, my attempt became November '06. Uh, for me, it was just 4 months to go, and of which I had certain client commitments till end of July. So for me, I literally have 3 months to do it. Now, having said that, it was not that I have done all the subjects before. It was really a tough situation for me. So the most important element, what I learned in this entire story was calendarizing my day, which was very, very important. So what I used to do is have a calendar right from morning 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock till evening 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever is your time which suits you. Uh, Asking what is the time which I am going to spend watching TV, what is the time I'm going to spend reading certain subjects, what is the time I'm going to relax for myself, maybe lay down, maybe have a small nap. So I think calendarizing it and trying to adhere to that calendar the maximum amount of time is very important. I can understand you may not be able to achieve 100% of the time your calendar, but even if you have a success rate of 90 plus percent of achieving what you have planned, I think so that's good enough for you to achieve what you want to do in the CA exams.
Wow, this is indeed great. The story that you just shared, that you actually preponed your attempt, whereas most students are looking at an excuse to postpone their attempt. Ki, maybe I'll not be able to do justice this time. Let me do it the next time, and I will study properly. But you have preponed it, had your client commitments. But as you also mentioned to me earlier, you actually cleared your every level of yours in the first attempt and in final. So the audience out there, Amit got actually a score of 470 plus in each of the subjects. He got between 50 and 70, and now we know that he just prepared thoroughly for three and a half months. So again, I think the key word over there is calendarizing your day, knowing when to do what, and actually sticking to it. Yes, you might not be able to achieve 100% of what you have planned in a day, but at least 80 to 90% if you are able to achieve, then even 3 months plus, of course, the practical experience of your articleship is going to see you through. So that indeed is a great learning and a great motivator for all the students out there, I'm sure.
I would just
Yes,
want to
yes.
give one quote here, Aryan, before we continue. Swami Vivekananda very well said, our duty is to work. Let the results take care of themselves. And it is so apt in every of our work that we only think and worry about results. It's more important than result is the entire approach of your studies, which is very important. Understanding the concepts, just making your hard work go by, and it's the grace of God and your hard work which you actually ultimately achieve what is said to achieve.
True, true. I think the famous Hindi saying "Karam kar, phal ki chinta mat kar." I think that is something which is required because a lot of students get desperate. Ki, yaar, I'm studying so hard and I'm trying to achieve. I've done everything, but still my result is not positive. Or in any phase, in any phase of our life, we do something with wholeheartedness, but then we don't get the result we anticipated. We get disappointed. So thank you for sharing that quote. Moving on, lot of fresh chartered accountants who are not clear whether CA course is enough, CA degree is enough. What is your advice on how should they approach their new phase of life when they become a chartered accountant?
Oh, and very, very, very interesting question in today's trend. Uh, Today we talk about a lot of hard work. A person who is qualifying a chartered accountant, it's not easy. I mean to say the toil the person has to go through is really hard. And to all those people who have qualified CA, I really congratulate them for their hard work. But having said that, in today's day and environment, people are also talking about a lot of IT related skill sets to be there with them. It is important these chartered accountants start realizing learning certain programming languages like R or Python or data science. They should go through courses around Internet of Things, cyber security. I think this makes the profile of a particular qualified chartered accountant a very, very strong profile in any organization. And everybody would want to and would love to work with such individuals because they get that IT enablement along with their technical skill set.
Yeah, I think a very important thing that most chartered accountants are so glued into taxation or accounting or auditing that we actually do not get too much into the depths of the information technology, which somehow has become hand in glove with our profession as well. And going forward, we will have to make the use of artificial intelligence, all these languages, ERPs, and computer will be an integral part of our profession. So it is very important to show as a value addition that, okay, these are the skill sets that I am having or I am developing. But you do a lot of interviews, probably tens of interviews or hundreds of interviews in a year. What are the top three qualities, if all the students listening over here, they have to inculcate those three habits or three qualities? What are those three qualities which you look into while saying a yes or a no to a candidate?
The three things which I can think of my head are: one, your strong academic and the technical skill set that you have learned. I think that's very important. Two is good communication skills. Three is more importantly being aware about what's happening globally and within the countries like India, for example, India and economics. What has been your point of views in each of these scenarios, whether GST implementation was good or bad, whether government economic policy decisions have been good or bad? I think there has to be viewpoints backed with strong learning or strong reading of documents. So that I feel are three most important features in any individual, which at least I have come across or I have interviewed, I always look up to.
Indeed. So the profession, for all the students who are listening out there, or for everybody who aspires to do a job in the near future in a multinational corporation, I think it is a fact to be underlined that it's just not going to be your technical skill alone which is going to get you a job. It has to be a combination of technical skills, good personality, and also a good knowledge about what is happening across the world. Also, because when you join a big four or a big organization, you are exposed or you are talking to people from across the globe. You will have clients across the globe. You will have stakeholders who are from different geographies. You will have to discuss different things with them. So all these components become extremely important. So for all the students out there, of course, technical knowledge remains the most important thing that you need to inculcate as a part of your curriculum, but also do not neglect your soft skills and general knowledge, general awareness about the globe. But sir, one thing that is concerning a lot of students these days, especially who are almost writing their finals and going to become chartered accountants, is the COVID-19 situation. We have seen a lot of reports that because of COVID-19, a lot of employees have lost their jobs. Maybe some countries are getting into recession and jobs won't be that, the opportunities won't be that many. You being at the thick of the things, what is your take? How are you seeing the future of our profession in the coming years?
That's an interesting question, and it's an evolving trend right now. There's no right or wrong answers right now as the situation evolves. Firstly, the pandemic needs to get under control, which is still ongoing pandemic. So I think it is important in a short-term scenario. Yes, there is an impact on a job market in terms of hiring freezes, in terms of just retaining people the way they are. But I feel India is placed so well in the kind of IT skill sets that they have, in terms of the global shared service centers that they have. The base from China is trying to move out. The companies are moving out of China to, say, locations like India or other Asian countries. So I think there is a great opportunity which is unfolding us in the next medium to a long-term range. If I see in the next year or so, there will be ample opportunities which will come in. But having said that, the people who are going to hire will also be very, very tricky, because they would want to see what kind of additional certifications and additional skill sets that you bring onto the table. So it is very important in this COVID times that you do what you are doing, but keep adding new skill sets and new certifications to your profile.
So I think the students should use this time to build on their resumes in addition to their degree, professional degree. Of course, they need to do a lot of things, but it's good to hear a positive outlook from your point of view. And yes, we are in India, so the things are not as bad as they are elsewhere in the world. So one last question that I'm going to ask you today, and which I think I have received from across the board, all the students just ask this, sir, how do we get a job in a Big Four? How do we apply? Getting to the interview stage itself somehow seems very difficult. So can you please throw us some light on how students can approach or try to apply to a Big Four organization?
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of time what happens, people only think about getting into a big four is maybe through a portal or a Naukri portal, stuff like that, job portals. A lot of these big fours do a lot of placements, whether it's campus placements. They also go to colleges to hire people at a grad level. So I think being involved in some of those placement programs is very important. Number two, you have a lot of these social networking sites which are there today. You will be well connected with few of them. Those are again an opportunities where you can always try your hand in terms of writing to someone, taking their guidance. Just don't make it too job oriented. You should also at times ask them some queries, some learnings. So you start making a rapport or a relationship with some of these people who are working with multinational organizations or with a lot of these big fours. Apart from that, there are a lot of seminars, events, etc., which also do take place. I don't know how many of us are attending to those seminars or to those kind of webinars. And it is important that we do participate in that, because then you come to know about certain people, certain new aspects of what they are doing. So that's another way of being associated or inclined to them, or at least getting an opportunity to know someone and then reach out to them as you may require.
Yeah, good points. As a matter of fact, my first job in a Big Four was through the ICI campus placement. So that is how I got into my Big Four first. So that is one avenue. But yes, I think the social networking sites now are gaining importance, especially LinkedIn, where a lot of students are there and a lot of working professionals are also there. And maybe not in the first attempt, it might not work out, but you need to keep trying and tapping and see if you can find a referral, build a connection for a long term, and then also work it out professionally. That is indeed great. But thank you so much, Amit, for answering all these questions patiently, taking out your time. We have been trying to do this interview for some time now, but this is immensely going to help all the viewers, especially the young students and the freshly qualified chartered accountants who are actually looking or actually very eager to join a Big Four and make a mark for themselves. So thank you so much for spending your time with us on this channel, and wish you all the best for your future. Maybe the next time we have an interview with you, you are a partner already. So look forward to talking to you again, Amit. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time and have a safe stay. Thank you, everyone, and all the best for your exams.